Councilman Dee Andrews brought forward an agenda item naming Aviles Law, where families and friends of the sisters witnessed the council unanimously vote to name a section of Long Beach Municipal Code that addresses illegal garage conversions after the girls.
Stephen Neal with a recommendation to request the city attorney to draft a resolution for the city council's consideration that would recognize the various provisions of the municipal code that regulate illegal conversion of garages as Aviles Law. The law will serve to educate the public and reinforce the dangers of these illegal, unpermitted, and dangerous conversions, and request that the City Council refer the Aviles Law to the State Legislation Committee for consideration for a resolution.
Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, there in many times in our lives, we know we none of us really hopes that any fire tragedy would happen in our lives, but in the year of 2007, we did have one, and it was a tragedy for not only for us but for all of the individuals, you know, the family and everyone else. So there's no greater or more painful loss than that of a loved one, and it is harder when it is the loss of the small children. Children like Jasmine, Josina, Stephanie, the Avila who died 3 years ago in a fire of an illegal converted garage. The item tonight is about saving lives and preventing unnecessary deaths. Due to the extraordinary work of our code enforcement in the fire department, we have found that there were over 550 illegal converted garages. This could have resulted into 550 more fire or tragedies. I would like to make a motion to approve this tonight. Second. And after that, I would also like to invite the Long Beach Fire Department and the captain of the arson unit, Mr. Pat Willis, to further educate us on this item.
Thank you, Councilman Andrews, Vice Mayor Lowenthal, and all the City Council. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. Tonight's an anniversary of a tragedy that occurred in our city. It's part of the history of our city. At 1052 Martin Luther King, 3 years ago today, we lost 3 young girls who were sleeping inside of a converted garage. Now, in a second, I'm going to show you the slide program, but what's most important is that you need to understand is that this was the home of a family. The problem with this was that the loss of these lives were very preventable. This is the Aviles sisters. This is why we are here today. That's Jasmine, Jocelyn, and Stephanie Aviles. This is the photo that I took from Truck 7 that outlines the property at 1052 Martin Luther King. It's much like any other property in Long Beach. There's 3 structures on this location. The structure on the lower left is a regular house. The structure on the right is a house. But the structure in the back with the fire damage is a garage. It's a 4-car garage that 2 of the garages were converted into a living space. They were converted without permits, without following proper fire code regulations or building code regulations. This is a residence that occurs. It is in every neighborhood in this city, and it is widespread. As you look at this fire, you'll notice that there's a lot of soot, a lot of damage. This is the bedroom window. It's not to code. It's a bathroom window that was put in there without any permits, without any plans. The building department didn't review it. The checks and balances and the regulations that you as city council members put forth as laws were not followed. This is the fire scene as it unfolded at around 2:30 that morning. As Engine 10 arrived on scene, they had heavy smoke and fire showing out of this location with a young lady screaming outside that there was 3 girls trapped. I will tell you that your firefighters, my coworkers, did a magnificent job in trying to make this situation better. But it just didn't turn out that way for us. But with the help of your code enforcement officers, the fire inspectors, people like Rita Hooker, Crystal Myers from the city attorney's office, Leigh Ronca, Pete Ronca, people from code enforcement, that went out and diligently sought out these locations. We made some inroads tonight. We identified 550 structures that were actually sited. So that doesn't even take into account the number of other structures that were actually inspected. As you look at the slide presentation, this is what happened inside the kitchen area. This is the living room where the girls would play when they would come over. Just so you know, they didn't live there. They were actually visiting there that night. They came to visit their aunt, and they brought with them a little portable heater that turned out to be the cause of the fire. And that is because this structure had no heat at all. By code, it was supposed to have heat. But they brought this little heater with them. And when I talked to the mother, she said that they were so excited about having this heater with them because they knew it was cold over at their aunt's house. Now, you and I, on a regular basis, will go to our wall and we'll flip a switch and we'll have heat. For this day, this was not to be. I think this is one of the most poignant photos of the entire investigation because after the fire on December 14th, the city directed the owner of this property to vacate the premises and return this location to its original and intended use, and that was as a garage. When I said that this fire was an accident, it was. Accidental fires break out all the time in the city of Long Beach, and they break out all over the United States of America. But where these deaths were preventable was the fact that had this location been this photo on December 14th of 2007, Jasmine, Jocelyn, and Stephanie Aviles would be here today, and we would not be having this conversation, most likely. But that was not the way it was. So we were ground zero for this case. We were notified and contacted by other agencies throughout the state of California, cities of Montebello, nearby. Central California called us, and they wanted to know what we were going to do about it. And frankly, we really didn't have a lot of answers. But what we knew is that we needed documentation to change something, and your inspectors, your city workers, and citizens called in to identify these locations, and as of today, we have identified 550 illegal garages. The owners have been cited with nearly $200,000 in fines. Thank you.
Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Officer Wells. This is what we're trying to let everyone know, and this is the type of thing that we hope that will never, ever happen, and not only in the city of Long Beach, but all over the country. So we'll have to come together, like I said, and make sure that if you see any illegal conversions of any garages, it's not about being a telltale, it's just about safety. It's just about saving people's lives. And I know this is something that we can all get together in and help make this work. And I want to thank you again so much, Officer.
You know, just on your point, sir, I'd like to say that this tragedy happened, and we're part of it. It's part of our history, but we can change the safety of our citizens because they're all important to us. Everybody in this community is important to us, or who chooses to come to this community. We look at the Aviles Law as the umbrella of all the laws that have to do with the illegal garages, the illegal locations that are not permitted, that don't follow fire code regulations or building code regulations. Those are the laws that this council passed to make this community safer. But today, we put a face to that law, and the faces are Jasmine, Stephanie, and Jocelyn. I have the family to my left. They have been wonderful in this. It is a tragedy for them. But together we all move through this, and we try to make our community a little safer and a little better for everybody. And that's the most important thing. Thank you, and it was my honor to talk with you about this very sensitive subject. It's my honor to represent this family or any citizen in this city. I just thank you. I thank Chief Patalano for allowing us to come up here and supporting this. And thank you very much for your time.
There's been a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion carries 9 votes yes.
Mr. City Clerk, if we might take item 15 up as well.